our encouragement today is by another one of our practitioners. And I think she's going to Jamaica this week, which makes me a little bit envious. When I think of Jamaica, I think of sunshine, and when I think of Dianne, I think of sunshine. So it's really awesome to have her here as a speaker on the second Sunday each month. Make a note of that. And please join me in welcoming Dianne.
Thank you, Sophie. I love that song. It's lullaby. It's beautiful. Thank you, Heather. So good morning.
Good morning.
How is everybody doing today?
Great.
Hey, again, how's everybody doing today?
Great.
Yes. So we're here to live and love. I love that on Alex's Evite, she typed, "We're here to love." And then it says, "We're here to live." And I was like, oh, we're here to live and love. We're here to love and live.
Yes. Cursive. I actually thought.
And it was great because I was going, oh, we're here to live and love. And that's, what we're talking about today. That's what the music is talking about today. That's what Heather was talking about this morning, about being aligned with the power and presence of God, your awareness that it is there, because God is always there, undergirding everything, sourcing everything. No matter what you're doing or what's your perception of what's going on, there's a realization that God really is all there is. And so when you start to look at that, and when we say God is all there is, we are talking about the idea that there is this force that created everything, the very presence of God. It's not masculine, it's not feminine, it is the creative genius of all that is, the creator and the creation itself. So there is no thing that exists outside of its presence, because if we follow, because I'm a logical person and I have to have an understanding of how it all connects for me to really feel like I'm connected to it. So I spend a lot of time, and I've spent a lot of time in my work and in my own spiritual work and spiritual practices, really coming into a complete awareness of what does that mean that God is all there is. And so we go, for me, you dial it back, all the way back. So where did everything come from? It was created out of something, a creative genius, a creative presence. It was created out of God Almighty. Okay, so that means that before God there was no thing, just God, and then creation, the creative expression and creativity happened, and out of God all things were created. So all things, therefore, substance of God, every single thing created out of the very substance of God, out of the very mind of God, out of the intelligence of God Almighty. So everything has that in its DNA. Even our very ideas that we as individual expressions of God have come out of the very presence of God, the very creative genius of God. Okay, so God is all there is. And then Heather just did this beautiful exercise with us where we were able to go in and say, okay, let's name what God is. Well, God is all there is. God is love. God is creation and creativity. God is the creator and the creation itself. God is the breath that I breathe and the very activity of my breathing. I have no power. I can help to regulate my breathing. I can take big, deep breaths and hold it for a little bit. But I don't breathe myself. The very presence of God breathes me. So I'm having my beingness in and as God. Okay, that's great. And now what? Why am I here? What is the whole purpose of my existence? What is the whole purpose of this thing that has created me? Why all of this creation, all of us interacting, all of us looking at each other every day and driving in cars on freeways? What is the purpose of that? What are we here to do? We are here to live. To live. And to live is a holistic expression of the soul. It is the thing that you are, your soul. You are not your body, you are not your mind, you are not your thought process. You are a whole being, and that is a soul. And so to live is the unfoldment of your soul. It's the creative genius of who you are. It is for you to be creative. It is for you to be physical. It is for you to be active. It is for you to be still. It is for you to live a whole and complete existence. And well, what does that mean? It means that mind, body, and spirit come into its fullness as your soul. And your job, your reason for being here, your purpose is to unfold that genius that you are, because each one of us is genius. No one of us is simple. No one of us is created limited. Each one of us is created with genius. No matter what your experience, no matter what the appearance, the truth of who you are is that you are created out of greatness. Absolutely. This baby is great. This baby is magnificent and already knows it. And so what we are here to do is to wake up to that. And I was listening to my teacher last Sunday when he did the meditation service, Way of Meditation. And he said, you know, there are people that go through the world and never have their second birthing. They have the birthing out of the womb and they stay asleep their entire lives. They hear information. And when he said that, never had their second birthing, I took that into meditation all this week and meditated on that idea all week. What does it mean to have a second birthing? And what is the point of a second birthing? I mean, I'm already here. I already did that whole thing out the birth canal. Bam, here I am. Let's go. What does it mean to have the second birthing? The second birthing is to birth your spirit, birth your genius. It means you are releasing what you have come to release on the planet. You are not just here to mark time. You're not just here to be on the wheel. You have a special gift. You have a special gift. You have many special gifts. It's not just one gift. There are things that you are here to do, and you know it because when it pops up, your mind goes, ha ha ha. Look over there, look over there. And there's this little excitement that happens, and you feel this quivering, and you know that something is happening, something is about to happen. And then you're here, your job is to unfold that thing, is to allow it to come through you, is to allow it to become your very expression in your life. And you're here in this center, in this community right now, aware that there is something more than what you've been doing. There is something more for you to do, and you have to actively engage in what that looks like. And so we have spiritual practices, and we have to engage in spiritual practices. And I'm going to invite you to step up your game. Step up your game and get into your spiritual practice. Step up your game. Don't come every Sunday and sit here and have an aha moment and then go home to come back next week for another aha moment. Don't just aha. No, you want to get up and go, ta-da, here's my life, I'm going to live it, let's go. And it does not have to be high-level excitement. It can be quite creative writing. It can be you sitting and writing and releasing the story that has come through you, or releasing the song to sing, or teaching the child to be, giving the space for the child to be all that the child came to be. Or it can be, ta-da, let's go, party time, let's rock it out and be big and loud and boisterous. It can be anything like that. It's on the spectrum of life. It's what you have come to do and who you are. So I'm inviting you to get into some spiritual practices. Get into some prayer. Get into some meditation. Sit and be still and allow yourself to contemplate the presence of God. When you do this practice that Heather has so beautifully shared with everyone, when you do this practice, I want you to go into silence with it and really feel it. Speak it out loud. Be there. Engage in it the way she is instructed. Drive in your car and feel the presence of God. Shift your awareness. Look out at the clouds and see God. Imagine beyond all of that, there God is. And so much more than words can ever express. And engage in spiritual practice. Go inside and confront yourself. Confront the smallness that you have allowed yourself to engage in. And become more of it. Become more of who you are. Challenge yourself to grow. Look at the idea that you are here and you refuse to be one of the people who never have a second birthing. Be the person that rebirths yourself into the truth of who you are. Go beyond that place, because there's this place where we engage, where we live, where we think, these are the rules and I'm going to follow them. These are the rules of life, the rules of how I am. These are the rules of engagement in life. We go to work, we pay our bills, we save some money, because at some point we're going to stop working and we're going to do a little retirement thing, and then they're going to bury us. That's That's not what you're here to do. You're here to rock your life out. You're here to live it fully. You're here to bring your creative gift because your gift is necessary. And also, the more that you fulfill your destiny, the more you are fulfilling the presence of God Almighty that created you. You are created to do something spectacular, to be spectacular, and you have to engage in it fully. So love wholly. Go inside and look at yourself and confront the part of you that's afraid to love wholly, that's afraid to be immersed in love, that's afraid to say, I love you, you're my friend, and I'm here with you. I love you, you're my partner, and I'm here with you. I love you, you're my sister, and I will walk with you. I love you, you're my brother, and I'm in the game with you for real. You know, engage with the part of you that would shy away from that. Engage with the part of you that says, uh-oh, we might get hurt here. Uh-oh, let's back up, let's dial back, because if we love, something could happen. You could love some more. So engage in the idea that I am going to challenge myself. I am going to step into the truth of myself, and I am going to be the master of my own destiny. I am going to stand up now and engage in how I'm going to live my life. I am not just going to think, oh, all I can do is this one thing, and I'll never be able to do any other thing. If you want to write. Start writing a story. Just start writing it down. If you want to sing, start singing your song. If you want to paint, start painting. If you want to learn how to teach, if you're being called to be a teacher, start engaging in the idea of how do I become a teacher? What does that mean? What is the gift that I'm here to bring? What is the thing that's calling me and making my soul sing? Get into the space where you confront false ideas about yourself. Confront the idea that you're limited, because there are absolutely no limitations in this thing called you. Certainly, we don't have wings to fly, so I'm not saying, let's go try to fly. But what I am saying is that there are ways in which I can create. There are things that I can do that my heart has always wanted to do, but my head has said I can't. And every time I decide I'm going to start a thing, my head says, no, wait. Maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we shouldn't try to write a book. Maybe we shouldn't try to tell a story. Maybe we shouldn't try to sing. Maybe we shouldn't work out, because you're never going to lose the weight anyway. Maybe you shouldn't try to run or exercise or cook different foods, because your family before you is always eating this, right? So you can't. Now, why are you organic? Why are you going to be healthy? Everybody before you, generation after generation, that's what we've done. We're limited to this. No, you can release yourself from that limitation and say, look, I'm choosing to engage in something else. I'm choosing to engage in health. I'm choosing to engage in wholeness. I'm choosing to take on my body temple and to allow my body temple to thrive and be the best body that I could possibly have. I am choosing that. I am choosing. Why are you sitting quietly in meditation? What is this? You know how you sit to meditate? Okay, let's talk about meditation. So, I sit to meditate. Real stories here, right? And you sit, and the chatter starts. Well, don't you have to get up? Do you have enough time to meditate? Because you have to get the girls up and get ready. Shh, be still. Let's come back to the center, come back to the breath. We sit for 5 minutes. Wait. It's been 20 minutes, right? Why are you still sitting here? Come on, we have things to do. Back to the breath. And I sit and I invite myself to stay in the stillness, because part of the spiritual practice of being a whole soul, living, loving being is to be able to take time and go within. Without chatter, without music, without anything. Just go within and engage with the presence of God that is in you right there, right now. Sit and be still now. And then I sit and I'm still and I know. And I sit and I still and I know. And I practice, and my time in meditation becomes longer and more significant. And my connection with myself, the anchoring in my soul, becomes so grounded that I shall not be moved. I cannot be moved because I've anchored into my soul, into the truth of who I am. Not the chatter in my head, not the stuff that I have to do, not the things that are going on around, but because I have a spiritual practice of meditation, I anchor into my soul, and I take it into my life every day. And I pray every day. I pray all the time. I've really been engaging lately in praying without ceasing, letting my life be a prayer, being in the car and having a moment of, yes, God, thank you so much for all that I have, for all that I am. I'm so grateful for the presence of God as me. This is my life. And we engage in a spiritual practice all the time of seeing God in each other, of seeing the beauty of God that has created you and me. And the beauty is radiating through you, in and as you. And when I see it in you, I see it in me. Because when I'm looking at you, I'm looking at the presence of God. So I engage in these practices on a regular basis so that I can be alive and I can be in love, so that I can live in a full expression of myself. So you're here to live, you have to do all aspects of it. There is a mind, body, spirit living. It's the holistic engagement in a whole soul living. So you're taking care of the body temple and you're taking care of the spirit. And then what are you feeding your mind? The other day I unplugged for a few days. I just unplugged from all of the chatter on the news and who's being appointed to what and the president-elect and all this other stuff and all of that. I just unplugged because it had become so much and the real of it had become so much. And so even on social media I would just scroll past folks because I know the folks that cannot help themselves. And they just have to say stuff, just to say stuff and post stuff and share stuff and reshare. And I just scrolled past and went to people that I knew were in the same vibrational place as myself. And I cocooned myself for a while just to feed my mind something else so that it's not constantly, what are they doing in China? What are they doing in Cuba? Oh my gosh, they're burying Fidel. I just unplugged. I unplugged and I read. And I picked a new book to read, and I walked around with it in my bag, and I kept it in my briefcase so that even when I was at work and away from my office or in my office, I could reach in there and pull it out and just go, anchor. Anchor and recognize and remember who and what you are. Remember that you are a perfect, divine expression of God. Feed your mind something positive every day. Don't just get up and now I lay me down to sleep. Don't do that prayer. Don't just get up and do the formulated prayer. Create a relationship with God. Did you hear me? A relationship. So I know people in this room have a relationship. Everybody here has a relationship. You have a relationship with your spouse, you have a relationship with your parents, you have a relationship with your partner, you have a relationship with your children, and you engage in that relationship on a regular basis. Yes? We feed the relationship with our child. We speak to our children. They speak to us. We say good morning. We pick them up we drop them off from school. We say have a nice day. We pick them back up. We're like, hi honey, how was your day? You do the same thing with your spouse. You go off your way, you start with good morning, you go off on your way, and you engage in an active relationship. You don't just go through the day or go through a week and not ever say anything. Do you do that? Do you get up and just not speak to your husband for like 4 days? Nothing. No coffee, nothing. We don't do that, but we do that with God. Because we choose to think and believe that we can plug into God when necessary. God is a presence always here, so there's no plugging in. But if we behave like we're plugging into the outlet to try to get some kind of juice or something to go, we're not having a relationship with God. It's like going to the bank, right? You go to the bank to put the money in and take the money out. You don't call the bank and say, hi, how's my money doing? Right? You can't do that. That's a banking relationship, right? You can't do that with your relationship with God. You will not have a relationship with God. If you notice when you go to the bank, there's a different teller all the time, and sure, you may see the same one sometimes and go, hi, and she says hi, and they're all polite, but there's no personal engagement. We're just doing business. Your relationship with God is really important if you're going to live, if you're going to love. If you're going to live fully, if you're going to unfold your soul, you have to engage with God. You have to speak to God in your heart, in your thoughts. You have to connect with God. You have to share your gratitude for your life with God Almighty, your life as God expressed. You have to be engaged. When you go into meditation, that's engaging with God. That's really that's that heavy stuff. You're like, I'm going in, let's go. And you sit in the silence and you train your mind, you condition your mind to, oh, it's okay, that thought went through, but I'm engaged right here, right now with the presence of God. And you take time out of your day, throughout the day, just like you do for your partner, for your husband, for your children, for your lover, for your friend. Engage with God, and so you can really unfold the full potential of who you are and your life with God, the full joy, the full beauty, the full love, because you are engaged in a relationship, not just once a week, once a month. Hey God, thank you, good for waking me up. Gotta go. Engage. Remember that God is always there. So it's not as if you have to, like the bank, you have to go to it. You don't have to go to God. God is already there. So you just train your awareness to be clear. Train your attention to be focused on the awareness that God is right here, right now, and build the relationship. Build the relationship every day, and not just in the morning and at night. If that's where you want to start because you haven't been engaged with God on a regular basis, start with morning and night. And then start to, sort of like dating. You call the person on the phone. You make a plan to get together. You get together. You talk on the phone every day now because it's getting a little hot. And you start texting. You start Facebooking and liking their stuff. And get in it with God like that. Start dating God. Get in there and start calling God. Get in there and start paying attention to God. Start liking God. Start doing the little love thing for God. That they do on Facebook. You do that. Start tweeting about it. Start new relationship. And get in there and really build that connection so it's always there. Because just like dating, right? The more that you engage with the person, the more you stoke the fire, the hotter the fire gets. And the bigger the relationship gets, and the more time you spend together, and the more you become engaged and stay engaged. And as long as you're stoking the fire, that relationship builds into something wonderful. And you can do that with God. You have to start somewhere. Make the phone call, set the appointment, send a text, put a note in your phone. I used to have in my phone, and I think I still do, I have in my phone, it wakes me up. Because I get up early, so I wake up at 4:30, and at 5 I get out of bed, and around 5:15 my phone alarms and says pray and meditation journal. Every day, like clockwork. It's my appointment to stop whatever I'm doing and get with God. It's my appointment to stop and be still. I have a 9 o'clock to pray for my spiritual community. It's at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. to pray for my spiritual community in California. I've added my spiritual community here. And so when my phone alarms at 5 minutes to 9, I'm like, whoo, time to pray. And I really build a connection with the divine because I have decided that this is the most important relationship that I can ever have. And it is what sources me. It is what fuels me. It is what breathes me. And when I have no problem with just turning my attention sometimes away from what is so intense in my life and just turn my attention back to God. And in the times when it gets so intense, I don't have to go stand in line at the bank, or try to find the outlet to plug in. Because when it is intense, there God is, because I have an established relationship. So I'm going to invite you to be engaged with God. Set an appointment with yourself to start your relationship, to build your relationship, to grow your relationship, to nurture it, and to spend time, a lot of time in gratitude. One of the things you can do as a spiritual practice is a gratitude list. Every day, write down 5 things for which you are grateful, 5 people for which you are grateful, 5 experiences for which you are grateful. And give thanks for your life. Because you're here to live, you're here to love, you're here to share all of your great gifts and to interact with people. And everyone that you're interacting with is an expression of God, no matter what the appearance is, no matter how much you feel like you're on opposite sides of whatever it is that you're on opposite sides of. We are all an expression of God, and we are all here to engage in that love and that thing called life. So get up, make a plan, get involved in your relationship, and then make a decision about how you're going to show up. Or even if you don't know how to show up, make a decision to tap into what am I here to do? what is mine to do, and really step into more love, more joy, more peace, more harmony, more abundance than you've ever had before. Because it is all here for you. The universe, created out of the greatness of God, is here to support you in everything that you could possibly desire. So I'm inviting you today to just take a moment, and we'll just continue in the beautiful prayer field set by Heather, how good it is to know God. And so how grateful I am to know that God Almighty, God All Beauty, God All Joy, God Abundance, Creator and Creation, is the very breath that breathes me and the activity of my breathing. How grateful I am to know that I am created out of this magnificence, out of the very substance of God. Therefore, every fiber of my being is one with the one. There is no aspect of my life that can exist outside of its presence, because God is a presence, never absent from anything, always present in all things. And I know absolutely this is the truth for each and every person in this congregation, anyone watching the video or listening to a tape recording. All persons, all things, having their beingness, their existence in and as the very presence of God. And I know that everyone here taps into their own creative genius and finds their way to connect with the one true God Almighty that is within each and every person, no holes barred. And I know absolutely that everyone here taps in this week into the love, into the joy, into the unfoldment of their great soul call to be here on the planet. I know that each person finds their living thing and steps into their creative genius as they release all things that do not feel like, look like God, and step fully into the God presence of who and what they are. I know that this is so for all of us and for everyone that we come in contact with. We shine our light so bright that we give others permission to shine. I know this is done with grace and ease for all of us, and as I release these words into the loving activity of the law of God Almighty, I know that it is already done. And so together we can simply say words of agreement, and so it is. Amen.